Hey Danny, how you doing, man?
I'm well, Lewis. How are you?
Well, I'm incredibly well, although I am getting a really intense, quite aggressive feeling of deja vu.
Yeah, so am I. I wonder why that could be a
Who
possibility.
knows? It's absolutely bizarre. Why is this happening? I think maybe it's as though we've recorded this podcast before, and then
Yeah,
all the data was lost. I think maybe that's what happened.
that's exactly what happened. Yeah, so I was editing and my computer crashed, and yeah,
Now
it,
we're here.
it stuck the middle finger up at me and said, "Ha ha! All your data's gone, bitch." I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but yeah, now
No,
now we
I
need.
don't think you are. I think it's like Scary Terry. Your
Yeah,
laptop is like Scary Terry.
you can run, but you can't hide, bitch.
You've
Um,
lost all your data, bitch. Yeah, that's like Scary Terry from Rick and Morty.
yeah,
Exactly like that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So now we have to do it again. I was gonna
Yeah.
pretend that this is the first time that we've done it, but fuck that. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, if memory serves, the first time we recorded this podcast, I had a massive anti-capitalist rant about like garden lawns.
Yeah,
Maybe let's spin the wheel of bullshit instead of going down that path again.
yeah. That's a good idea. Okay. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
Stop it there. Uh, bullshit feel good quotes.
Bullshit feel good quotes. You've got to love them. I think it was Joe Lycett
Yeah,
that did a stand-up bit about this.
that's
Where he was
that's
saying
him.
that he made this Facebook account or Twitter account, whatever it was, and he would post like a picture of a sunset or whatever, and then get some kind of a quote that feels like one of those bullshit made up quotes, but it was said by somebody really horrible, like Hitler or something. And he'll
Yeah,
put the quote up and he'd get like 1 million likes or something ridiculous.
yeah,
Because these quotes are just so bizarre. There's such bizarre nonsense.
yeah. It's like it was talking about Cheryl Cole and the types of people that do stuff like that, and he started going onto their profiles and just making up quotes and just putting it there. It's like, the rule is that I can't have thought about it for more than 10 seconds.
I like Joe Lycett a lot. I really like his stand-up.
So do I. I like it when he was when he had to get his when he got his parking fine cancelled. Did you ever
Was
see
that
that
when he
one?
went to the Met Parking? We found Met Parking, and then this street party that they'd found this parking office. Is it that one?
No. He'd got sent a fine from the fine office, I guess. I guess.
The
And
Office of Fines.
the Ministry of Fines, and they said, Mr. Lycett, we found your car parked in a taxi rank, and we have provided photographic evidence of this, and it's a photo of his car, and on his window is written taxi rank, and and his response was like, oh, I'm gonna ruin it, but it was like, he was saying stuff like, uh, fine doth butter no parsnips and things like that. Just like,
Yeah. I remember one of his things was he photoshopped the car so it looked like it was on the surface of the moon and said, "I was not in a taxi rank. I was in fact on the moon. As
yeah,
you can see, I have
yeah.
provided photo evidence of this."
He didn't even Photoshop it. He just said, what you have there is clearly just a picture of my car, with the words taxi rank written on it. It's like, if you want the fine cancelled, you will have to prove that your car was not in a taxi rank. Well, I'm happy to. As you can see, I was on the moon, and it's just the moon written in yellow on his car. It's like, and then he gets fine cancelled. I mean, I completely botched that story with my nervous energy, but
I remember he was telling this story about. I mean, this is literally like third-hand stand-up. That's what we're doing here.
yeah,
Stand-up is always, oh yeah, a mate of mine did the then that's how the story starts.
yeah.
Now we're telling this story the third hand, so you know. But I remember there's this Joe Lycett bit where he was talking about he rents this office in Birmingham, and on his door Like, people in the building will have things on their doors, like, say, Jeremiah and Sons Legal Corporation, or whatever. They'll put, like, a business sign on the door. But
Yep.
Joe Lycett obviously is just, like, a bloke. So, he put, a missing fox poster on the door, and he said, there is a missing fox. She is called Sharon, and she has had my crisps. All this sort of stuff, and it just... It's this strange view into absurdist comedy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the joke is played upon the idiocy of people.
Yes.
While he himself is being an idiot.
Yeah.
It's really strange. It's a weird thing, but I'm a big fan of it. I really like it.
No, I like it as well. Yeah, but that was my effort for the 10-minute bullshit. Even though we've done this once before, and and it somehow is worse the second time.
Well, all I've got on offer is I made some little Lego stands for my laptop so it wouldn't get so hot. That's a nice boring thing we can talk about. What else is in this room that I can look at with my eyes? I've got a pack of Post-it notes propping up my mic stand.
Wow.
I've got the official Good Egg, which is a Patreon reward, which is... how exciting is that?
Now, we're getting into some time travel shit here, Lewis.
We are, yes.
So, Rick and Morty will come out, or will have came out on Friday.
Yes.
And all the good stuff that's happened to us over the past couple of days hadn't happened yet.
Yes.
But you're going to hear about that first, despite the fact that it happened earlier in the week, and then you're probably going to hear about that here after that. So
if that was confusing, who cares?
Yeah, we're rich is what we're trying to say.
Oh Christ, we're not rich.
Well, it's more money than I've ever had in my life.
Basically, we took a look at the Patreon and we thought, oh, this is cool, but it's not very cool. What can we do to ramp up the cool? So we changed our tiers about a bit. We changed our rewards, and now we've got like a Patreon-only Discord, and we've got official Good Eggs that you can get at the top tier, which is just a bit of fun. And yeah, we had a revamp, and we've had 3 new patrons in the last couple of days. Peter, Sophie, and Aditya. How exciting is that?
It is amazing, amazing. And
the goal is to get Danny to say something really ridiculous when he's reading out the list of patrons. So the goal is to put like a fake name into Patreon, have it be like something really ridiculous, and then Danny will have to read that out on every single podcast.
So I need to do that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. It's a goal that you never once shared with me. Yes, very good, Danny. Shut up and read the fucking name.
But no, yeah, the Patreon, it's really cool. We've got the Discord now.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan, and we're selling merch, obviously, still. Lots of good things are happening with the podcast. I was just, literally, last night, I was cooking tea with my wife, and I was just like, loads of really good things happening with the podcast. I was chopping up an onion, like, loads of good things are happening. I'm really happy with all these things. She's like, yes, dear, very good. Put the onion in the pot.
Which is life's bitter irony, because last night my chest began to hurt really badly.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
And then I woke up this morning and it was gone, and now it's starting to return. So all this success could be met with a very unsatisfying death.
That would not be good.
No.
Try to avoid an unsatisfying death. Or a satisfying death. Try to avoid any kind of death.
But Lewis would march on without me.
It would just be me doing the podcast on my own.
I'd be a martyr. That's what you could use me for. Or you'd go mad and just talk to yourself, and it would just be one mono audio.
What I'd do is, at the end of every podcast, I'd play a sad piece of music and I'd say, "In Memoriam, Daniel Kerr." At the end of every podcast, and everybody would be like, this is really weird, but I guess this is his way of processing the grief.
Yep.
I'd get 1 million listens. That's how that would work, right?
Yeah, I mean, see if you died, Lewis, there would be 10 minutes where I would be inconsolable, and then I'd move on and keep going.
I can't blame you for that, Danny. That's a perfectly reasonable response.
Oh God. Ugh, well, you know, here's to life.
Here's to life. I've got a bottle of water. What have you got?
Well, I was gonna have tea with honey, but Jesus, I might just have a heart attack. It might be that. It might just
God.
because I might just. It might be because I eat so much shite, and just my body's telling me, look, Daniel, if you have one more cup of tea with honey, you're done.
It might be because you haven't exercised in 3 years.
Your tea's out, pal. Yeah, but what have I been doing apart from exercising, Lewis?
I don't know.
Eating.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
So both of them go hand in hand. So I'm like sort of, I'm I'm being very careful. Don't want to take a sip of honey-filled tea and just.
I'm pretty sure that's not how that works, but good to know that that's how you think it works.
Well, how does it work then?
I don't know, because right, this is something I've always wondered. You know, you have like recommended daily intakes of like salt and sugar and fat and whatever.
Yeah.
If you have like 110% of your salt for the day, every single day for your entire life, will you notice any effect at all?
I don't
know.
know.
What about 111% or 112? What about 150%? What's the point at which it becomes an issue in your life? I really don't know.
I think
it stresses me out that there are things out there that say, yes, you should eat or drink or whatever this much salt, this much sugar, but I have no idea what would happen if I had just a little bit more than that or a little bit less.
Yeah, but like.
And they're counting individual grains of salt before I put them in my food.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I don't care. I don't care how ill I am. I will never do that.
It does seem like a lot of effort, doesn't it, to count individual grains of salt?
Yeah, I'd rather you just probably throw the towel in at that point, wouldn't you? Just be like,
God.
I'd just be like, well, I'd rather go out, fat and happy than skinny and miserable.
Right.
Lewis, this could be very much on the horizon, so it's okay to talk about this.
I would like to point out, you're a 20-year-old who is in reasonably okay health. You are not going to die today.
But chest pains are not a good sign, Lewis.
Chest pains are not a good sign, but you're also not bleeding from your eyeballs or something. Like, do you know what I mean? It could be worse.
Heart attacks never happen like that. It's always like when you least expect it, and it just.
What? I don't know enough about heart attacks to tell you you're wrong, but that doesn't sound right to me.
Well, that's good. That's handy.
It doesn't sound. I feel like heart attacks don't rely on an element of surprise. I feel like there's no surprise in a heart attack that makes the heart attack better or worse.
What you're saying that it slowly comes in, like a.
No, what I'm saying, it's probably not when you least expect it. It's probably when you're at your most unhealthy.
Right. Mm.
So have you been expecting it? Has it been on the horizon for you?
No, it's just because chest pains aren't they like the sort of calling card of the heart attack?
Chest pains and shooting pains in your left arm.
Yeah, I haven't had that yet.
Well, that's good at least.
So
you've just been stabbed in the chest and you don't realise.
We're halfway there.
Oh Christ! This is not what I don't know if this is better or worse than a rant about lawns
and capitalism.
A rant about anti-capitalism and I don't know which is better or worse.
Yeah, I don't know. Both are pretty irrelevant to most people's lives.
Well, that's true. Well, do you feel sated with all that bullshit, Danny? Having talked for a long time about your potential impending death.
Yeah, I feel so sated, I feel like as if I've had too much satedness.
Oh, I see. So you feel overfed.
Yeah. Like, my chest hurts even more now, how sated I am.
Jesus Christ. You're going to be talking about this for the whole podcast, aren't you?
I'm sorry for troubling you with my fucking chest pain, Lewis. Do you know what? I'll shut up, I'll put my finger on my lips like a good little boy, and I'll die in silence, okay? Okay!
Oh, Christ. I would like to point out for the podcast that we do not want Danny to die. We don't want anybody to die.
I'm going to go Sissy Spacek on you. I'm going to widen my eyes and start controlling shit in the house.
Explode my head.
Yeah, exactly. Like Sheldon in The Big Bang Theory. He's like, you cannot blow up my head with your mind. Then I'll settle for an aneurysm.
What's the that line from Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Where he's saying, sir, being healthy isn't just about like flexing your muscles in your body. You need to flex your mind as well. And Captain Holt looks at him and goes, what you're describing is an aneurysm. Which is a bit intense. But anyway, today we're talking about the film Carrie.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about Carrie again.
Jesus. It was directed by Brian De Palma. It's based on the novel by Stephen King. Mm-hmm. It was written by Lawrence D. Cohen, and it is starring Sissy Spacek, Amy Irving, William Catt, Nancy Allen, John Travolta, and Piper Laurie. I made that joke last time.
Yeah, well, having a sense of consistency is always good.
Oh,
and we know that, of course, now you've made the joke once on the public record, you would never make it again.
No, but it's not public record anymore, so...
No, but it will be when this goes fully live.
Yeah, but it's not live though, is it? We're cheating.
Well, yeah. Anyway, have you got an opening statement?
I do, yeah. A perfect and truly horrific depiction on adolescence and the troubles brought with it. At that age, the need to control our lives is very great and unrealisable, and this shows the dangers of gaining it completely.
A truly horrifying tale. Really works as a sort of a happy, semi-uplifting teen movie of the Carrie's journey out of sort of subjugation in her mother's house, and it turns into a sickeningly horrible film where nobody is a winner, everybody's just sad.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start with the same CRQ I started with last time, because I still don't quite get it. Why do the girls in this film care about volleyball so much?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense to me. Carrie, what does she do? She like misses the ball or catches it wrong or something, and then literally they walk past her, and one of them turns to her and mutters, "Eat shit and die." It's like, oh my god!
Yeah.
Why do you care so much?
I mean, it's I think it's the culture of the school. I think everyone is just in this sort of really competitive, horrible way of thinking.
Yeah. Is it like High School Musical, where they've got those enormous posters of Troy Bolton on the walls? In Carrie, they've got these enormous posters of the volleyball team on the walls.
Yeah, and just Carrie at the bottom, eat shit and die.
Yeah, and they're all... It's what it is. It's a picture of Carrie at the bottom, and they're all just like looking at her and sticking their middle fingers up at her. That's the poster they have on the wall in Carrie's high school. Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to start with the same one that I started with.
Okay.
Is the principal fucking senile?
Yeah, it's a bit...
Cassie?
Cassie!
It's Carrie! It's not just once that he calls her Cassie. He says it like 5 times. 5 times, Lewis. Maybe not 5,
is he some kind of moron?
More than 3.
We do not know.
Say that again?
Is he some kind of moron? We do not know.
He seems it. I mean...
Maybe he just, like, hates Carrie White. Maybe he's just a really hateful teacher. It's
Who's Carrie White? I only know Cassie Shite.
He's 10 days from retirement. And he's taking out all of his aggression on students at the school. And he's all this pent up rage he's got from all of his years of teaching.
Maybe.
And now he's there. I don't care if her name's Carrie. Cassie, right?
Maybe. He's adopted Ron Swanson's way of thinking. Maybe he's become too nice to Carrie, and has now started calling her.
Right?
But we don't know that.
Well, yeah, this is true. They might be like best mates outside of this one scene.
I was joking, but now that you've challenged me, I have no choice but to double down.
I've got another bit of a question, which is sort of an incredulous question. Would anybody in the world really kill a pig for a joke?
No.
No, of course you wouldn't.
I mean, I wouldn't.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Can you imagine killing a pig for a joke? At what point? During that situation where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna humiliate Carrie at the prom. I think the most I would probably do is like pour custard, not pig's blood, because Jesus Christ, that's a whole new level of fucked up.
Yeah.
I think if you were going to like, if you had this plan of, okay, let's humiliate her by tipping something on her, you think, okay, well, water would be the easiest thing to do because hose pipes exist, or custard, or cream, or something like that.
What makes it even more like fucked up is because they're laughing at the fact that she had her period, and like I think that's why they're covering her in blood, to sort of like laugh at that even more, which adds another level of sort of disgust to it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like, I think,
but most people
in that situation, wouldn't it just be easier to buy fake blood than to find a
Yeah.
pig, kill it, and drain the blood from its body? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean, Christ,
But
that's a ridiculous level to go to.
But that's why it's so horrific. It's like,
Well, yeah.
most people would just, you're right, pour chocolate on her or custard or whatever. But because of the culture of this school, it's like the only option for it. Can you hear that lawnmower outside?
I can, but it adds to the ambiance. I like it.
Just give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna kill the guy.
What you're hearing now, everyone, is the dulcet sounds of Danny, I presume, closing a window.
Die!
Oh, right.
He's dead.
Christ, that's a bit dramatic, isn't it?
Yeah, but what is life without drama?
Well, ain't that true?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, oh God, he's still doing it. I thought I killed him. But it's because the culture of the school. It's like there's no option for them other than to kill a pig and drain its blood, which is like absolutely horrific. But it's like that's the sort of culture that they live in this horrible, callous place.
Also, speaking of the horrible, callous place, the gym teacher's a bit slappy, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a bit salty. But
it's a bit. It's. I mean, obviously, I was not alive in the 70s. I don't know if this is just how schools in the US were in the 70s. But the gym teacher slaps like 3 students or something.
Yeah.
She slaps Carrie for crying. She slaps
Yeah.
one of the other ones.
The first scene
Yeah,
that we see her in. Carrie, stop it!
And then it's at the prom. She sees that girl come in and look at the bucket of blood above Carrie, and the girl is clearly about to try and stop whatever it is from happening. And the gym teacher rushes over, like grabs her and throws her out the door, like Fresh Prince style. Like, what? It's just, she's a bit aggressive for a teacher.
I mean, it's slappiness all over the joint. There's a scene with John Travolta in a car. Yeah. And he just slaps his girlfriend. So hey, it's like, it's so slapsticky, but it's just played off like so casually. It's like, oh my God.
Is this what happened in the 70s?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I think it would make more sense that it's again this horrific world that these people live in, and it's like all the milestones are there for something horrible to happen. And it's just waiting on the match to go into the powder keg, if you will.
Yeah. One thing I would like, it's more of a CRS than it is a CRQ, but the way that Carrie's mum responds to Carrie getting powers, and she's like, "This is a deal with Satan because you have sinned, or you're a witch," and she can't make sense of it. It doesn't make sense with her worldview. It's like an interesting. I think that's kind of how. Because, like, nowadays, say it was, like, on the news or whatever, you're like, the schoolgirl in Massachusetts, where is this set? New England somewhere. Schoolgirl in New England somewhere has developed telekinetic powers or whatever. There would be scientists saying, yes, well, we think this is probably some kind of a genetic manipulation or genetic mutation or whatever. But, like, back in medieval times or whatever, before these scientists were doing things, there would be, like, the highest officials of the town, like the potion seller or whatever will be saying, yes, this woman has clearly made a deal with the devil, and that's why she has supernatural powers.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? It's I find it interesting that Carrie's mum is sort of, all of her reference materials come from like medieval times in a strange way. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's not just sort of strongly believing in a religion. It's like fundamentalism. It's like, yeah, to believe that a woman's period is the scourge of God. It's like that is fucking insane. And so that means that she was just waiting for that to happen, and fingers crossed it doesn't actually happen to her, denying what's true for every other person on the planet. And she doesn't say anything about it. She doesn't tell her daughter anything. She doesn't say, oh, that, there's going to be this thing. Not even within her own twisted mind frame. She just sort of omits it completely. And obviously, if you're a young girl and that happens to you, you'd probably start screaming. You'd be like, what the hell is wrong with me? What's going on?
Yeah, if you've got no frame of reference whatsoever. And
exactly.
It's bizarre. It's
horrific.
It sort of shines a light into this idea that Carrie's mum has no feeling towards Carrie at all. It's almost like a completely transactional relationship. Carrie
I think she does have feelings.
She has to be there in a strange way.
I think she does.
You think?
Yeah, I think she hates her severely.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think after Carrie gets her period and her mum's thinking, well, Carrie must have sinned then. Yep. This is a curse from God. Carrie must have sinned. I think at that point forward, she just hates Carrie. Wants her... What's that thing she says? I should have given you to God when you were born, or something really horrific. Like, imagine your parents saying that to you. I should have killed you when you were born. Yeah. That's insane. It's horrible.
And the whole reason that Carrie was born is because her mother, in quotation marks, in her own words, sinned with her husband. So Carrie's entire life is just sin, according to her.
Yeah.
Which is Jesus.
It is. It's a bit. It's intense as fuck. It's
Go
on, sorry.
Her view of the world, that everything is sinful and everything is, horrible. It's like, looking at the world that this film inhabits, you could be forgiven for thinking that in this world specifically. I don't, it's more complicated with our world, but in this horrific sort of dimension or whatever Stephen King was doing, because we know that he does multi-universe type things, so maybe this is just a world that is very unforgiving and very horrible. So everything is a product of this horrible world that they all live in, just this world seemingly without just missing that tiny bit of empathy and compassion, but it just makes it a bit darker. So do you think that her worldview is correct?
I mean, no, because it's incredibly horrible. I think that it's I can understand it, but I don't think it's correct, if that makes sense. It's like I understand her justification and her reasons and whatever, but I don't agree with them. Mm-hmm. If that sort of scans. Like, I understand why she thinks what she does, but it's also... It's because it's... The thing that gets me about this sort of very aggressive view of religion that Carrie's mum's got is, like, Jesus' whole thing was, let's just love loads of people. Let's just be nice. And then Carrie's mum has read that and then taken it the exact opposite way and said, like, no, everything is just sinful. Everything in the world is sinful. Everybody around me is sinful. I have sinned, and I have to try and right that wrong by so she does. She knocks door to door and says, "I think your daughter has sinned." Have these, which is ludicrous. It's emotionally
sort of blackmails people for donations.
Christ, yeah.
Also,
where does the donation go? Is Carrie's mum affiliated with a church?
It doesn't seem it.
It
just
own
seems as if it's
herself?
Just her. Yeah.
Is that how she pays the mortgage? With donations from people she's bullying on the street?
Who knows?
Oh, crikey.
I mean, it's. I imagine it's probably the Old Testament that she's been reading, poring over it, rather than I'd imagine that she recognises Jesus, but I doubt that she sort of reads the love and compassion bits. I mean, if you've ever read the Old Testament, it is full of horrific shit. and it's, you know, if you're taught that is fact, like that is definitely how it happened, you know, I would find it very difficult to sort of separate, you know, the idea of this world being sinful and horrible.
Yeah.
You know, so everyone is a. It's almost as if everyone is a victim in this film. Like everyone is a product of this horrible society. It's like even the bullies, because the bullies must just like hate themselves and each other. So, you know,
and to put this much energy into what is essentially ruining this girl's life.
Yeah, they must have some amount of self-loathing.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, it's about, like, the only people in the film that actually try and do something good are, to some extent, the gym teacher, just trying to do something nice for Carrie. Yep. And, oh god, I forgot what the name, Tommy Hargreaves, the one with the curly blonde hair?
Yeah.
And his girlfriend, they're trying to do something nice by giving Carrie, like, a nice prom.
Yeah.
It's they're the only people trying to do something nice, and even then, I'm pretty sure they all have horrible fates. I don't think it's explicitly stated that the gym teacher dies, but I wouldn't be surprised if she does.
I think she does die because she gets crushed by a table.
Oh, okay, right, yeah, and
yeah,
because Tommy Hargreaves gets the bucket that falls down from the ceiling and it hits him on the back of the head. I think in the book it's explicitly stated, he dies from that sort of thing. He's killed instantly. I don't think it's said in the film, but it's sort of implied that he dies.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we see that the girl is just, like, sat in bed having recurring nightmares about Carrie coming back and trying to kill her. It's just...
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it seems that there's just great levels of sadistic irony throughout the entire film. It's like I mentioned before that I think there might be a higher power in the film that just is like doing this for its own amusement or something like that, and it's very callous. And then I thought, wait a minute, it's Stephen King.
Yeah, I suppose so.
He has put all these people in this place and has now sort of breathed life into them only for it to end horrifically. I mean, it's like, you know, because he's a writer and that's what you do, but if you look at it from their perspective, all they would see is a higher power who has created them solely for them to feel pain and misery. And then you just think about, well, that's what true horror is, because it is horrific. It's you are made to feel utter pain and then, you know, die in a house with the person that hates you the most. I mean,
oh god, yeah, that ending is it's horrific. It's it's how Carrie is still so desperate for love from her mother. Even after these horrific events of this film, she thinks the only person that actually loves me then must be my mother. She goes back to the house, pulls her mum into her arms, and her mum literally just stabs her in the chest. It's this horrific sort of nobody. There are no happy endings in this film. No winners. Everybody has this terrible life, really.
Yeah.
It is very traumatic indeed.
Yes, definitely. What else was I going to say?
I'll tell you what else there isn't in this film. There is no situation in which lots of characters band together to form what some might commonly describe as an intergalactic dream team.
Oh!
Beautiful segue, master of the segue, Lewis Brindley. I have won thousands and thousands of awards for my incredibly good segues.
Right, because we've already done this, so let's just do it again. Okay.
Right, my intergalactic dream team is 5 heroes. So we've got Professor X.
Yep.
We've got Captain America.
Yep.
We've got Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Oh.
We've got Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
And we've got Picard.
Right. Jean-Luc
Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Yes, that's probably quite offensive.
Well, I get Scottish accents thrown at me all the time.
And the big bad is Q.
Right.
From Star Trek. He's like this sort of omnipotent, essentially a godlike figure.
Yes. Yeah, a god of mischief.
Yeah, sort of like Loki or something. He's a mischievous figure that just likes causing sort of chaos in the world.
Yep.
And the plan to defeat Q is actually fairly simple.
What about the ship?
Oh, the ship is the mystery machine. The ship is the mystery machine. That's all you need to make this plan work.
Yeah. Okay. So set the scene. Where are we?
Okay, we are on the lawns of Professor Xavier's mansion in Westchester, New York.
Right.
The mystery machine's parked up. They're sat outside, chilling out.
Right.
Picard is there. Captain America is there, and so is Professor X.
Right. But Shaggy.
Shaggy and Clifford the Big Red Dog are currently hiding at this point in time.
They're hiding.
Yes, they are. They're hiding. They're hiding.
Where is Clifford hiding?
He's within the mystery machine. Using
what
technology from the future, they have invented a thing that can shrink and grow Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And basically, the three of them are sat there on the lawns of Westchester. They're having a conversation, and essentially this is all bait, like the light above the anglerfish's mouth for Q to arrive. And arrive Q does after a short while. And then Q says, "Hey up, what's going on here, Jean-Luc Picard? Why are you not with Riker and all the others from the Enterprise? What's going on?" This is TNG era Q, because that's the only Star Trek I've really watched.
That's fair enough.
And Picard goes, "Well, I'm just here having a rousing philosophical debate with Captain America about the nature of ultimate power in the universe." And Q, because he is ultimate power, is like, "Oh, that's interesting. I'll get engaged with that." And then while he's thinking up an argument, Professor Xavier slips into his mind using his telepathic powers and convinces Q to turn himself human. Which is what happens in an episode of Star Trek. Q turns himself human and then has some kind of back injury or something and turns himself back to a god or something ridiculous like that.
Lewis has tried to pull the wool over your eyes, right? What they previously argued about was whether taxation was theft. So I know you were trying.
That came to mind. It was just, what's their philosophical argument about Lewis? Taxation, is it theft?
So he tried to make it less political, but I have stopped him in his tracks. But the ultimate power in the universe, okay, fair enough.
Okay, and then Q is now human, and so they're all just stood around looking at him thinking, this is a terrible thing that has happened. And then Professor Xavier takes control of all of them with his telepathic mind powers.
Right.
And he makes Shaggy, the dog whisperer, convince Clifford the Big Red Dog to eat Q.
Yep.
And then Q is eaten, all is well, Q is defeated. Wow.
Did you need Clifford the Big Red Dog to kill Q?
Well, I feel like the alternative would have been Shaggy to like come out of the mystery machine and snap his neck, which just seems a bit intense.
Or Picard shoot him, or Captain America, or.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I think I just I came up with these characters, and I just thought, well, how can I engage all of these characters in the defeating of Q?
Instead, you've turned Clifford the Big Red Dog into a murderer.
Yep.
Wow.
I have.
Beautiful.
How do we know he's not a murderer already? That's the question I'd like to ask.
Well, yeah, but we had this argument. You can't use anything off screen, so everything that's on screen is the only evidence that we have that he is a killer. I
see. Well,
imagine there's an episode out there where he just slaughters a bunch of people.
Oh my God, that'd be a bit intense. An episode of Clifford the Big Red Dog, famous kids' TV show where he just eats people,
killing children.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Well,
do you hear that?
Oh,
it's the Hoover.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love some good Hoover audio.
First a lawnmower.
Well, Danny, would you like to know something?
Go on.
Clifford the Big Red Dog is himself red.
Oh, fucking hell.
And do you know what else is red? Blood. And do you know what gets tipped over Carrie in Carrie? A big old bucket of blood.
Oh.
So again, Lewis Brindley, master of the segues.
Master
I will link
segue.
anything to anything.
Yep, definitely.
But now we're back on the subject of Carrie, so isn't that good? You got any more CRQs, Cocker?
Yes. Carrie, when she's covered in blood, and her mother at the end of the film look a bit like Christ.
Yes, because Carrie's mum gets like almost crucified in that doorway. Because her hands get sort of stuck to the frame of the door. It looks like she's being crucified. Yeah.
Yeah. which is the religious symmetry is out of the world, or out of this world in this film.
Indeed. I have a bit of a technical question about the film.
Go on.
At what point did Carrie's mum have the time to light all those candles?
When she was gone, I think.
When Carrie was at school, Carrie's mum was there
No, when she
feverishly
was at the
lighting
prom.
candles. Oh yeah, when she was at prom. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Carrie's mum was thinking, right, in preparation for my daughter coming home, I'd better get lighting as many candles as I can fit in this house.
She's fucking mad, isn't she?
Well, yeah, that is very true.
I mean, she's nuts.
Yeah.
Why is that? Like, is Stephen King, like, did he have a traumatic experience with, like, a religious woman at some point? Because it seems to me that it's a common theme throughout his books and films. It's like, you get Annie Wilkes. Who else?
I'm not sure I can think of any others. The only other sort of religious figure I can think of from a King book is the priest in Salem's Lot who gets turned into a vampire.
Yeah. But there will be one. You know,
I'm sure there will be one, yeah.
He's written like 50 books. There's definitely going to be another one.
Have you ever looked up how many books Stephen King's written? It's insane.
I know.
He wrote Carrie when he was 26, and he's been writing like 3 or 4 books a year ever since that. It's absolutely insane.
It's so mental.
He's in his 70s now, and he's still churning out like 3 books a year or something ridiculous.
Quite right.
I have no idea how he does it. It's ludicrous.
I know.
One thing that I do like that the film captured from the book is Carrie's, like, sort of, the book encounters, it makes a good point about how Carrie is she doesn't just look weird, which would be a very easy and very sort of shallow way to play this story. Would be, oh yeah, Carrie looks kind of weird, that's why everybody doesn't like her.
Yeah.
I think the book posits this idea that Carrie talks strangely and does everything in her life really weirdly, and it just doesn't make much sense to the people around her. Like, it's this one thing that I think Stephen King keeps saying at the start of the book is she's asking people in the shower scene. She's like, what's going on? And this sort of jabbering noise that she's making, he keeps likening it to like a frog. She speaks strangely, and her frame of reference is really, really weird because of the way she's been brought up and all this sort of stuff. I like that sort of carried over to the film. Like Carrie's reading these books about telekinesis, and she's like struggling to read the words because she's like,
which makes her a victim again of her own situation and her mother's behaviour. There is. You made a good point last time, and I'm going to steal it. It's like most horror films have like breaks and have breath, and it's like, you know, everyone's having a good life until some horrible thing happens. But this film and this book is, the horrible things happen because of the lives that these people live. It's not sudden, really. It's a slow build up.
It's a pressure cooker. Yeah.
Yes, it's a slow build up of just dread and pain and misery and horror, and then eventually just death and blood and fire. I mean, it's that, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't be, you know, just it's all good, and that can be good. But if you get your entire sort of setting to work for you is you know, horrific, that makes it all the more terrifying. I think.
I couldn't agree more. It's something that I do sort of quite admire about how this film has captured this from the book, because they have been very faithful to the book, and
they have.
It's this Stephen King thing about he's incredibly good at building tension in a book, but you have to give him time to do it.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons I struggled to get through Christine. Is it feels in the middle like there's this lull, but in reality he's just building this tension of like what's his name? Archie? I've forgotten now. Arnie is like repairing his car, and it's like, and Dennis is like going to the cinema with his girlfriend, and it's lots of things that are not outwardly horrific. It's just slowly ramping up the tension in this town. Like the first time that Christine kills anybody in that film, that book, it's like 2/3 of the way through. It's really far into the book before anything horrific really happens.
Yep.
Up until that point, it's just loads of things making you feel unsettled. And that's what this film is in the same way. It's loads of things that make you feel unsettled, before big old bucket of pig's blood, and Carrie starts killing people.
Exactly.
It's horrible. It's true horror. It's unsettling as well as what's that thing I always go on about? Me, the massive nerd. Horrible thing happening in a horrible place for a horrible reason.
Yes.
And I suppose the horrible thing in this situation is like Carrie finally snaps and starts to take it out on people around her. Happening in a horrible place, which is this sort of high school that's been transformed into a hellscape by the fire and the blood and all this screaming and stampeding students in this gymnasium, happening for a horrible reason. It's happening because all of the people in the film have made it happen.
Exactly.
That's something that you don't get in things like in a lot of other horror films. The horrific thing happens in spite of the character's actions.
Yeah.
But it's like you just said, in this film, the horrific thing happens because of the character's actions.
Exactly.
They're all horrible people, and it leads to this horrible, horrible thing.
Horror begets horror.
Indeed, indeed.
Do you think...
horror. I really do.
So do I. Do you think that they deserve it?
Did they deserve what Carrie does to them?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think it's I mean, I've never been one for like. I'm not quite sure how to phrase this, but like
You're not one for capital punishment, then.
Well, I suppose there's that, but it's also like the example I always come back to is have you watched the film Kingsman?
Yeah.
When Colin Firth rampages through that church and kills like 200 of these incredibly offensive, deeply racist and sexist and homophobic people.
Yep.
And the preacher's speech is incredibly hate-filled and disgusting, but it's also because of Colin Firth. I mean, Colin Firth it's hard to describe this, but there's this secret agent sort of skill set that he has. It's like murdering puppies for him. It's nothing. It's like stepping on an anthill.
Exactly.
It's because Carrie is so outclasses Carrie's rage and Carrie's ability to literally just explode people's heads if she wanted to. That's so far above and so completely different to the bullying that's happened her entire life and from her mother and the emotional manipulation. It's so far separated that when you combine it with this human idea of revenge and disgust and hate, it's impossible to think did they deserve it, because it's these two completely different things, I think, in a way.
Yeah, I think that the film and the book is not about morals. I think it's about amorality.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not a question of whether they deserved it. It's more of just of a sort of, it's almost like a chemical reaction. It's like cause and effect. It's like you've done this, so now this happens, and that's what it's basically about. It's like if you do things that are horrific to someone, then don't expect it not to happen back to you, regardless of your morality. It's like, what's that quote? If you stare into the face of evil, evil's gonna look right back.
Yeah, the Nietzsche thing. I stared into the void for too long, and it started to stare back at me. Yeah, it's
that's us, Lewis. People are on here for too long, and
we're shouting into the void for too long, and it starts shouting back.
Exactly.
I think the thing that I admire, Stephen King's stories, they break down into two categories. It's either things are not as they seem, or scratching the face off of the world and staring into the true demon, the true underbelly of humanity, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think this Carrie is sort of both of them, but on the same level, it is more of an underbelly story.
Definitely.
Because it's like, say Carrie didn't develop these powers, and instead she just goes crazy and starts beating the shit out of people around her. It would be a completely different story.
Yeah.
This story, it's horrible things happening in a horrible place, but because of Carrie has these abilities, Carrie has these powers, it's about like what happens in a world where this can potentially happen, rather than it's about these people getting killed. It's almost like a science experiment as a book, as a film. I'm a big fan of Stephen King's work, and I'm a big fan of this book in particular. It's it's something I could talk about for hours. Talk about the nature of horror and stuff like that.
So could I. The remake was shite though, wasn't it?
I haven't actually seen it. I watched the first sort of 30 seconds of it before I realised it was watching the wrong film. But what was it? 2013, the Chloe Moretz one.
Yeah.
I never know. Is it Chloe Moretz? Chloe Grace Moretz? Chloe Grace Moretz.
Chloe Grace Moretz. Yeah.
There was a Carrie 2 as well. I discovered during
there is.
The Rage.
Yeah. Why?
What's it? Does Carrie come back? I don't know.
I've never seen it.
When her closest friend commits suicide after being manipulated by the popular crowd, quiet and bookish Rachel Lang decides to get back at the guilty parties. Although Rachel falls for the sensitive football player Jesse Ryan, she remains determined to punish his callous friends. When Rachel discovers that she has superhuman abilities, it ups the stakes for her revenge, echoing a supernatural incident that occurred decades before. Okay.
Wait, well that sounds shite because...
Is the Rage...
So
this says it was based on a story by Stephen King. But Rage is... Because I've read Rage, the short story. It's a short story that Stephen King wrote, and then I think there was a school shooting, which... afterwards, the person who did the shooting said, yeah, I based this on Rage, the book by Stephen King. So it's not ever printed anywhere anymore. It's not anything like that, but... Judging off this synopsis, it's not like the book. It's really odd.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of Carrie was that it all built up, but deciding you're going to get revenge halfway through, and then be like, oh, I have powers as well. That helps. It's like it sort of takes the horrific stuff out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really it does take the horrific stuff out of it. Again, that's horrible things happening for a not horrible reason.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's that's the difference.
The remake is like almost a frame for frame sort of retelling of this film.
Sure.
And
with Hit Girl instead of
yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason it's shite is because there was no need for it.
Right.
It's like there was I can tell you the one reason why it was made, Lewis. Can you guess?
Cash?
Cha-ching! That's it. That is it.
It's like this actor that plays the mother. I'm not sure where.
Oh yeah, she is a good actor. To be fair.
Oh, Julianne Moore. Okay, yeah, I know who Julianne Moore is.
Julianne Moore. She's fantastic. But it's like when they remade Psycho.
I don't think
Did you ever
I've
see
seen
that?
the remake of Psycho. I don't think I've seen the original Psycho either. But yeah.
You haven't seen the original Psycho?
I don't think I have. No.
Oh my.
Is this what we're doing up to 27 Dresses?
Lewis, that is like, oh Jesus! Have you seen any of Hitchcock's work?
I have absolutely no idea. I don't think I've deliberately watched any of it. I might have seen some of them.
You fool! We need to. God, we've got so much that we need to watch now. We've got Alien to watch. We've got
Psycho, Vertigo, The Birds. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got all these.
Was the remake of Psycho also shot in black and white?
No.
Ah, okay.
No,
because I remember the original Psycho. At the time, it was some films were black and white, some films were colour, and he made the choice for it to be black and white because he said, "No, this makes it spookier."
It did. It looked worse. It looked horrific, Like, not in the sense that it looked bad, but it just looked scarier in this black and white sort of, grey world. But what do you call it? Yeah. The remake was with Vince Vaughn.
God. And
the performance was claw your eyes out, good at best. To be honest, it was just so bad. Like it missed the mark completely. So it's when any of that stuff happens, it's just for cash.
Yeah,
that's it.
I completely understand what you mean. Yeah, it's Yeah, I'm not a fan of remakes in general. I can't think of a remake I've watched that's been better than the original. Can you?
No. Nope.
Well, there we go.
I can't think of one because it's just so rare. I mean, no, because it doesn't count.
Go on.
Because I was going to say like the Batman films, but they're not like remakes. They're just sort of like new stories with the same character.
Yeah.
But I mean, fuck knows. But
well, either way, I think I might have run out of notes for Carrie. To be honest.
I think I have as well.
Yeah. After we talked about the nature of horror in this high school social nightmare room, and yeah, so that's good.
Yeah. For the second time. Let's hope it doesn't happen again, eh?
After this, you'll have to send me your audio, just on the off chance that if it does happen again, I've got a backup that's not in like Glasgow or whatever. Yeah.
I shall do that.
Have you got a closing statement, Cocker?
Yes, I do. Having no power in your life for so long and then suddenly to gain all of the agency in the world is truly horrific. Whatever forces gave Carrie her powers are callous to the core.
Indeed. The horrific part only lasts for like 25 minutes, and yet I come away genuinely sort of wanting to throw up. That's how intense I found the sort of the switch from sort of this sort of uplifting story. That's the framework it follows. It's like a teen movie uplifting story, aside from all the horrific child abuse. But and like and then it takes this enormous 180 into this really horrific story. It's a masterclass in horror. I'm a big fan.
Certainly is. Well, that's us.
I think it might be us. You are completely right. Have we got some shilling or are we?
We do.
We have no shilling to do today.
We've got lots of shilling to do, more shilling than we've ever had to do. I am on Instagram at O'Hiram. I'm on Facebook at Daniel K Actor, and I'm on Twitter at Kerzo2000. What are you on, Lewis?
I am on Instagram at Lewis_Brindley. I am on Twitter at LewisBrindley4, and I have a Facebook page called Lewis Brindley.
Yes. We are hosted by Podomatic. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We have a YouTube channel. We're on Deezer. Mm-hmm. We have a PayPal donate button. Anything you can spare would be greatly appreciated.
Very much would.
We have Patreon, and we'd like to thank our lovely patrons and our new patrons.
I've got 5 patrons now. How crazy is that?
Yes. Chloe, Darius, Sophie, Peter, Aditya. So yes,
thank you to all of you
guys.
It means the absolute world that you enjoy our content so much. Thank you.
Yes, excellent. And we are also partnered with a lovely company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and this is Lewis's domain. So I'll take it away.
Yes, we are public. We are partnered with the wonderful company Number 12 Crochet Avenue, which is run by my incredible wife. She is an incredible crocheter. That can't be the right word. She is incredible at crocheting, and she makes the most amazing things: blankets, scarves, little teddy bears, loads and loads of different stuff. She runs the Instagram at Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and it is definitely worth going and checking it out. It is the most gorgeous Instagram, very aesthetically pleasing. I think I said it in a previous podcast. I'm going to say it again. It is the equivalent. I mean, there's no way to represent this on audio, so you're going to have to picture this. It's of when a chef cooks something really nice, then they bring all their fingers together and then kiss them and go like that, and then they throw the fingers up into the air. That's what the Instagram is the equivalent of. But she's absolutely superb. She's actually recently partnered with us for our Patreon. She's made official Shouting Into the Void Good Egg eggs. I'm showing this to the camera in spite of the fact that it's just a microphone. it's which is a reward on one of our Patreon tiers. It's an adorable little egg that we are absolutely in love with. So go and check her out. She does absolutely amazing stuff. She takes commissions. Her Instagram is beautiful. It is a pleasure to be partnered with her, both in marriage and podcasting.
Perfect. And last but certainly not least, we have merch.
We do.
Merch.
Merch.
Are you cold?
I did this bit last time, and now Dan is sticking off. Dan, I've got a question for you, mate.
Oh, yep.
Occasionally, do you get cold?
I do.
Wow, really? That's strange. Well, occasionally, do you feel the need to put clothes onto your body?
Yeah. I was just thinking. Yeah, I do.
Well, you can fulfill those needs with our merch. You can put on a Shouting Into the Void t-shirt, or a hoodie, or a sweatshirt, or a #Find Eli t-shirt. Or if you have things that you want to stick things to, you can get a Shouting Into the Void sticker. How great is that? Also, Danny, do you have a phone?
I do have a phone,
Because you can get a phone case. A Shouting Into the Void phone case. How fantastic is that? You can also get posters, socks, tote bags, and mugs. We've got loads of stuff. It's definitely worth a look. The link will be in the description, or the show notes, or our link trees. It's everywhere. Wherever you're listening to this, I'm sure you'll be able to find the link.
If I'm going to have a heart attack, now would be the time. So exciting! Oh, man. Yes. Well, please have a look.
Yes.
See what you like. Get yourself something nice.
Treat yourself.
You deserve it. Yeah. Well, that's us. Thank you, Lawnmower, for thank you for
Thank you for your guest appearance, Lawnmower. You have made a world of difference to today's podcast.
Yep. And Hoover. Don't forget Hoover.
Don't forget Hoover. Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed listening to our musings on the horror classic Carrie, 1976. 1976?
Oh, who knows?
I
don't even write the dates down.
Danny, what are we doing next time, Cocker?
We're doing a lovely film called 27 Dresses. Okay, I watched the trailer last night. Okay, and I'm gonna predict how it ends right here, right now, for your delectation. Okay, so Katherine Heigl will end up with James Marsden.
I mean, yeah, she does.
Okay, so so all my qualms about this film have already been confirmed. So thank you for that.
It's obviously it's a rom-com, and my wife and I have chosen this because Chloe will be appearing on the next podcast. She's appearing on all the ones we talk about rom-coms. She is more than welcome to sit here and torture Danny with me, because I think there is a lot that could be said for a rom-com. I think there's a lot of potential in that genre, and it's interesting seeing how different rom-coms potentially fall short, or could be better, or different things. I think the film 27 Dresses is an interesting premise, but a poor execution. I don't really like the characters, and I think it's interesting to talk about why I don't like the characters.
Sorry, how's that an interesting premise?
Because it's like, she has several opportunities. I mean, we'll talk about this in the next podcast, but it's a weird film, and I think it's interesting to talk about the characters and why they're dead weird.
Okay. We'll see.
Well, we hope you join us for us torturing Danny, as is our semi-regular tradition.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening. We will hear you, smell you, lick you next time.
Yes, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.